Liberal Viewer present.
So the juxtaposition of two stories I saw last Friday left me with some serious questions. First, on PBS's NewsHour, like almost everyone else, I was happy to see those British soldiers released from Iran last week. And, as a former criminal defense attorney, I was particularly interested in seeing how the media portrayed their coerced confessions. One example came from the comments of an expert on PBS, Colonel Hayward Stanley Floor, who served in the Army Special Forces for 23 years and was Chief of Staff of the Army Special Operations Command when he retired. As he pointed out,
resist as long as you can. However, if you think that you're going to be able to, maybe in his case, take care of his semen, that he may do something like that, and then knowing full well that he can return home and tell everybody this was coerced, this was part of the coercion, and we all understand that.
But if we all understand it when British prisoners give coerced confessions, then I don't quite understand the other story I saw on my local news last Friday about a hearing requesting a new trial in this Lodi case in which a local farm worker was convicted of aiding terrorism based on similarly coerced confessions. I remember watching a PBS Frontline story from last year which had those coerced confessions analyzed by James Weddick, a decorated FBI veteran who retired with more than 30 years' experience. Weddick looked at the interrogation tapes as a favor to one of the defense attorneys and pointed out,
"They're angry when it doesn't come back exactly the answer they want. In other words, he's engaged in terrorist activities."
Who's going to tell you? Because they're not going to. Are they going to call you up from Pakistan? I don't think so. I think somebody
maybe send a letter or anything like that. Maybe.
No, I don't think they're going to send a letter. They're not going to. We're not going to write down a little note. Go do this. I think you're going to have to talk to somebody here in Lodi.
They're leading him, and it's ridiculous. It's shameful. It's shameful.
So, how could such shameful interrogation techniques lead to terrorism convictions here in America, where we have trials and juries? Well, it was problems with the jury that were the basis of last Friday's new trial hearing. Specifically, one juror swore in an affidavit that the jury foreman, Joseph Coate, on multiple occasions made a hangman's gesture to the other jurors, and then he made a remark about the accused that, quote, they all look alike, unquote. And after the verdict, Joseph Coate was quoted in an article in the October 2006 issue of the Atlantic magazine talking about so-called new rules of engagement and saying he didn't want to see the government lose its case. Coate even referred to the young men also of Pakistani heritage involved in the London subway bombings and said, quote, can we, on the basis of what we know, put this kid on the street, on the basis of what we know of how people of his background have acted in the past? The answer is no, unquote. At the hearing on Friday, Joseph Coate denied any of these concerns influenced his verdict, inexplicably claiming he could not have been influenced by the London bombing because it did not occur until July 2006. In fact, that bombing took place in July 2005, as reported in news articles Joseph Coate admitted reading when questioned about them during pre-trial jury selection. Which all leads me to ask, exactly how much juror bias should someone have to show after the verdict for a judge to grant someone a new trial? And, on the possibly bigger question, should confessions obtained by interrogators at the FBI really involve the same tactics as confessions obtained by interrogators in Iran?
YouTube, you decide.